Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today, we're going to be talking about the cost of standing still. We're focusing on the cost specifically and how areas that appear to be working inside the dealership can quietly create cost over time. I'm joined by Julie Douglas and Ted Ings. And we're going to talk today about why payments are a common example and why this conversation matters right now, Ted.
Sarah, you're so right. Julie Douglas, CEO and founder, Dealer Pay. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Great, Julie. Great to see you. This has got to be one of the most exciting segments in all of automotive right now. Before we start, next week the entire industry is converging on Las Vegas to the NADA show. Um,
Yes.
I'm assuming you're going to be there with Dealer Pay.
With bells on for sure. Yes, we will be representing for sure under the Vehlo booth. But lots of excitement, lots of things to do, including working with you guys on several customer interviews and more. So very much looking forward to it.
Sarah and I are looking forward to spending some time with you, Julie, and with the Velo family and a number of your dealers as well. So looking forward to that. We'll come back to that if you can, if you don't mind, at the end. And
Sure.
Sarah, we got a full plate of things to talk about today with Julie.
We do. And Julie, just to kick things, right off, this is such a timely conversation, and a lot of our dealer audience listening today, the customer experience is really top of mind. There's a lot of technology that's coming in a variety of directions, but customers want easy ways that they can do business, and again have a better experience. So I'd love to get your take. Why do you think payments and areas like them so often escape scrutiny when dealerships are modernizing other parts of the business?
I think, Sarah, because for so long, payments have been put in that commodity category. So they assume that, a transaction is going to process and they assume they're going to get a deposit the next day, right? So all of those processes that happen in between, the transaction and the deposit, there's actually quite a bit more going on there. But I think dealers have just been so used to this being a commodity, they don't look at it from the price perspective to the functionality perspective, and then the margins in all the different areas that are affected.
We spoke a little bit in the green room, Julie, with Sarah, and you mentioned to us that the industry for so long has focused on these silos. Okay. Talk to us
Right.
about that because, from the customer's point of view, they don't see that. They see one
Right.
dealership and one place where I spend my money.
Right. So, for a long time, just being in payments before I was in the technology space, payments, again, it was a terminal on a desk. Sometimes a dealership would have just one in a cashier office, and nowadays they have several, right? But even aside from that, without some kind of technology or software, it's just one piece. They're using a CRM, they're using desking tools, they're using service lane technologies. But when it comes to the payment, it's all very standard, right? So if you've got all these technologies that do just one thing and they don't talk to each other, the experience for the customer is very fragmented. They don't care what systems the dealer uses. They just want the experience to be positive and fast and convenient, and they want to be able to pay how they want to pay.
And
And
many of those systems that you mentioned have been modernized by the dealers, things like the CRM, digital retailing, a lot of technology now in service and in parts. Julie,
Sure.
uh, where do they fall into the modernization conversation, and why now?
Sure. So we developed Dealer Pay in a sense where it was a technology solution, 100% focused on payments, 100% focused on every single department within the dealership, how the user interacted with it. But now it's extended to where we have to be integrated. We have to be integrated into the other systems that the dealer uses for that full circle to be complete. When a customer transacts a payment and then the user has to close the repair order, and then the batch is settled, you still have to post to the general ledger and everything has to match. And a lot of those processes today are extremely manual. So it's not an alarm bell that's going off, because that's just how they've been used to doing it for years upon years, decades upon decades. But what they're not seeing is there's automations in place that can eliminate a lot of those stopgaps.
And Julie, I'm glad you touched on that because I'm imagining our dealers that are listening today, and especially our controllers that are in this conversation. That's something that there's a lot of concern from them about. Well, I do not want to have any of that risk, especially with all of the different regulations and ways that this could really impact the business and them personally. So, what happens when dealerships modernize the front end, but then not how the money moves behind the scenes?
Mhm.
So there's a couple things that happen. You've got inconsistency, right? And touching back on that word you said, risk. Dealers take on a lot of risk. Transacting from the front of the house to the back of the house. But when it comes to payments, it's a whole nother level of risk, compliance, etc. So without having a system or a software platform in place, they're just assuming the risk. Whereas if they had something that made sure they were following best practices, all the rules of compliance, especially with, the most popular topic these days called surcharging, all these various things put them at risk and loss, essentially, if something were to occur. And what we're just so much trying to do is let dealers know that there are solutions out there that can not only mitigate this loss, but almost even prevent it.
Julie, Dealer Pay is a great part. I'll say the word partner to dealerships. You specialize in this exact segment. This is your swim lane. Question for you: If when dealers stand still in payments, okay, and don't take the time to adopt a lot of the modernization things, where do you see that cost actually showing up?
It's everywhere. It's from, just efficiency, more in, more out type of thing, maybe lost sales, time wasted, like we mentioned earlier, in accounting, and then ultimately the customer's experience. I often say this, and probably several times on your show, is the payment's the last experience, right? Whether they're buying the car, coming in for service, purchasing a part, and even whether they're in the dealership or outside the dealership. So if there are issues with the payment process, it's that last thing that they're going to walk away with, that, well, maybe I should look elsewhere when I get my car fixed next time, or when I'm back for whatever reason. So, we put just so much emphasis on making that seamless, easy, very convenient, but also jam packed with information for the dealership. So they know exactly who did what, where it was done, how it was done, and if any changes need to be made to it, it's at their fingertips.
And Julie, I want to come back to, what you were just saying with the cost component of this, because, again, this is a hard, tangible. It's not going to necessarily show up, glaring out at you on a balance sheet that payments specifically is the problem in this equation, and how it's being structured or the processes in the dealership. So why, in all the dealerships that you see, why is it that cost so hard to trace back to payment specifically? And then what are some of the things that you look for, to help rectify that?
Sure. So for years, it was the process of, okay, Mr. Dealer, send me your credit card processing statement. Let me do a cost analysis and see if there's any savings that we can provide you. And if you've been in this business as long as I have, I mean, we're talking bitty basis points, right? Of,
Yeah.
margin that can be added by processing companies, which is obviously how they make money. But many dealers just assume this is a cost of doing business, right? You've got to
Yes.
take electronic payments. People must pay by credit cards, whether they're
Mhm.
getting points or whether they don't have the cash. So, for the longest time, it was all about, can you beat my rate? Um, I'm
Mm.
just going to be honest. Like, I mean, just being in the industry so long, there are so many providers out there that will come in at a great rate and in a few months hike it up. And they make these statements so difficult to read, it's nearly impossible for the dealership to understand it or know the difference. So, Ted, when you go back and talk about like partners and relationships, that's the key here, because if you can't trust your payments partner, then you can almost guarantee that your rate is not the same as it was when you signed the contract.
And Julie, you want a payments partner as a dealer who's not sitting still. You want a payments partner who is aware of what is needed right now in terms of compliance and things that are happening in the industry. So not just the best deal and the best dollar, but the entire picture. And dealer pay, I've seen you come in with your team and install this, work with dealers, work with service advisors, all the personnel firsthand, and again, you specialize in this and you're there for the long term. You're there to help hold their hand and, work out the wrinkles, if you will, and really customize this to the actual dealership and location.
Yes, and the reason we do that is not one dealership is the same as the next, right? So there's going to be some dealerships that, operate different. Maybe they have service writers that are doing the cashiering, or maybe they have the traditional cashier. There's going to be some dealerships that want various tender types, like, ACH or, mobile, which, we talk a lot about the mobile piece. Even getting into some really crazy tender types like cryptocurrency, which is something we're going to roll out at NADA. But these are the things that I pay attention to for the industry. I want to be the one that helps them get into the best solution for them. I'm not doing this in a restaurant or a hotel. This is all about the dealers. And I've put a lot of work on myself in my career to learn how the industry works and then apply what I know about payments as to how I can help my dealers.
And Sarah, as consumers, we're aware of multiple ways we can pay for things. And what Julie is doing at Dealer Pay has really brought the dealer industry into the modern world. All right. The way we pay for other things. And, it stands out, the dealers that use Dealer Pay, Sarah.
It does, Ted, and I'm sure our audience today has experienced this in their own transactions. Wherever they've been in the world, where there's been that potential friction points, and they can tell when a business isn't keeping their
Mhm.
eye on this or paying close attention to it. And Julie, just in looking ahead, 2026, there's a lot of opportunities on the horizon for dealerships, and fixed operations is continuing to be the forefront of the conversation of where dealers and revenue and retention is happening. If there's one thing that you would have our audience, take away from this conversation today, what pieces should they be thinking about in the year ahead?
I think efficiency is, and I use a lot, but it's consistent. It's being efficient and having processes in place that aren't manual, making sure your systems connect together. This is such a big deal, even over surcharging, which is so popular, but everybody can do it. Not everybody can do it compliantly, but everybody can surcharge now. Yes, we want to protect margins, but we want to make sure your teams are efficient. And that is truly what's going to make those service and parts departments, collision departments, et cetera, really turning and burning these ROs, and also at the same time protecting that customer experience.
Julie, next week, the industry is converging on Las Vegas. Dealer
Yay.
Pay will be there.
Yep.
You're going to be there. Sarah and I are going to be there with you. We're going to be spending a lot of time with Dealer Pay and talking to the dealers, doing some interviews. We're going to be with you at the Vehlo booth. It's in the West Hall. Great location. I took a look at the map, booth 2911. What are some of the things that our audience can expect when they come to see Dealer Pay and make sure they put Dealer Pay on the short list?
Sure. So, we're excited to, perform as many demos as possible. We're trying to get some intro demos even scheduled before the show so that you can come to the show with any other management partners that you brought. But we're excited to roll out some new products that I mentioned, cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
rewards and loyalty. We're going to be talking about a few others, but I'll wait to share those at the show. But yeah, we're going to have our sales teams there. We're excited to bring in our existing customers so that they can talk about their experience with Dealer Pay. And we're also going to be announcing some new partnerships and integrations.
All right. Well, Sarah, I'm looking forward to spending time with you and with Julie in Las Vegas at the Dealer Pay Velo booth. Sarah, it's going to be exciting this year. As she said, there's going to be a lot of dealer action as well. We'll be hearing about how a lot of dealers are using these processes.
It's gonna be an incredible time, Ted, and Julie, it's gonna be amazing to hear all of the exciting things ahead for Dealer Pay.
Yes, yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So everybody, if you're coming to NADA, make sure Velo and Dealer Pay are on the short list. We will see you all there. You can't miss us. Big stage in the West Hall. Julie, I see you are on that stage many, many times a day. Okay, with Dealer Pay, and you're going to have the team there. So
Yep.
this is probably the most exciting NADA I can think of, and what a great time uh, to be in this industry.
And if you're not going to be there, please hit us up beforehand. I know that not everybody can come, but we would definitely love to talk with you to see if we can help your dealership.
All right, everybody visit Dealer Pay on the web. Um, Julie Douglas, super active on social media. Julie, I see your email scrolling down below. I see the 314 number. That is your number, is it not?
It's my mobile number. Yes, sir.
All right. So if you want to make an appointment also coming to NADA, get a hold of Julie. I know she picks up that phone. I talk to her several times a week, and she will make sure that you get the very best service at NADA. So, Julie, thank you for all you do for the industry. We'll see you next week in Las Vegas, and excited for what Dealer Pay has ahead.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you.
Right. Julie Douglas, everybody, with Dealer Pay, CEO and founder and sales lady extraordinaire, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.